Alright. Good day. Wait for some people to get in. I guess we could get started. Alright. Hi, YouTube, and everyone coming in. And Slayer here. We're back. We're going to do some patch reviews. I didn't do 0.26, and there's some pretty major changes. So, we'll talk about 0.26 and 0.27, the one that just came out today as well. So, I'll just get started on some of the old news. Yeah. Big thing for 0.26 is Combat Run. I haven't played much Combat Run at all. I'm not super interested. I don't really have a commentary on Combat Run. Yeah, just because it doesn't really have that depth of a strategic layer and like card building decisions. But I can tell you kind of get what you get. It's a little memey. I mean, I like memey stuff, but it's more like you're just trying to perfect the build. Or that's it. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. Like if you just want to play the combat, you just play Combat Run. So, but I don't really care too much. I like the combats in the context of the strategic layer. So, yeah, not gonna talk too much about that. The card changes are quite interesting. So first one is Protect. So yeah, I've been playing around with this a bit. Protect is a very good card. It's not like broken, but it's very solid card. So before you one willpower swap places, and gain armor equal to how many units you're next to. Basically, this was a say you took this if you wanted to try to save an important character, to sacrifice your warrior, which was a pretty rare situation, as typically just generally always better just to spend the 2 willpower to walk away. And the defend was so, like, the defend benefit was so rare that it just is like a last tier card you'd pick, and there's so many good warrior cards that it's like not worth picking ever. Now it's very relevant. This is probably so defending powers is super important, and being able to redirect your damage to your warrior can mean that on like a critical turn, you might be able to defend a power you wouldn't otherwise. It's not a persistent effect, so you need several of these in the deck to do it consistently, I'm finding, when I'm playing it. But even so, like, worst case scenario, this is a defend. And defend actually isn't that bad of a class card. Like, you typically keep your defense, and come late game, like, you want defense over your melee attacks, generally speaking. So, like, yeah, worst case scenario, this is a totally fine card, and in the best case scenario, this could be like run saving. So yeah, I there's also some interesting little tactical situations where you can like defend someone and then just run them in, or like defend someone and then they can just face tank while they blat. Like there's a lot of tempo stuff you can do with Protect, because it is a very cheap way to defend a high priority target. So very, very, very good very good card. Very glad this was changed. This is um, Warrior, yeah, is slowly progressing to the point where they can like reliably like their defense. This pretty much rounds out their defensive suite pretty nicely. Um, yeah, it's not perfect. And again, it shouldn't be perfect. Like it should just be that like Warrior is always perfect defense, but it is. Yeah, this is kind of like the more or less taunt that we were looking for, artificial taunt. So, yeah, I've been running Warrior. I mean, I've always been running Warrior, but this is just like cements it even more that like Warrior is a very good pseudo supporty defense class that has great early game, um, and this on top of the what is it? The power that lets you share armor, like the the offensive capabilities of bosses have been changing a bit, and the Warriors' defensive stuff is getting to the point where we can almost. Oh, we'll talk about catalysts later, but like it's getting to the point where you don't necessarily need abjuration to win certain runs, and this is part of helping that. So, really like this change. I've been playing around with this a lot. Um, yeah, it's not that great early game. It does tend to bloat your deck from the offensive stuff because you very often want attack cards um, to be working with defensive stance and actually cleaning through enemies. So it's definitely a later game card. And because you need a critical mass, it can be a little hard to get that. But I mean, it's baseline good cards that have like situational synergies that make them great are kind of like what you're looking for in a card in general. So good card. Rush. So, um, I mean, Rush needed to be buffed. Rush was like probably the worst one of the worst cards in the game before. This is a significant improvement. Unfortunately, it's still not good. So like plus plus 2 movement this turn is like this is essentially a bad run. And you may say this is a good run, right? Because it's run with an upside. But it's not run with an upside because the thing is that movement cards right now, like movement cards in general are pretty bad if they don't do something extra, right? Like you can consider a movement card like half a card. Um, right? Like if you look at walk is a great like walk and challenging stride are great examples of like basically like like 3 movement is equivalent to half a card. And you can kind of see that like how like advance is like kind of equivalent to a defend, and then like defend is like half of like the bigger block card. Like there's a 0 mana for block, which is a fantastic card, right? Like the block cards are significantly better than the movement cards. Um, but like yeah, you kind of like you look at like you look at the the you look at advance, and it's just not that great because a any card in the game can be used for movement. Um, so you need some pretty hefty upside to a movement card to justify not having the versatility of being able to use it in an actual situation. And a lot of times 2 movement is enough to get the job done. And you typically play on the basis of 2 movement and assuming 2 movement. So 3 movement is like 3 movement is good for using critical cards. Like 3 and 4 movement is good for like closing distances very quickly and efficiently when you need to use a critical card and willpower is important. That's a pretty rare situation, and that situation is you're typically talking about making a very situational card good. Like the best example is Bash. That's probably one of the only good melee cards that where I'm like, okay, I'm willing to, like, against a boss, spend a turn doing stuff with my warrior to get a bash off. Um, or maybe something like an AoE against the necromancer, like if you happen to be high rolling um, AoE stuff with your warrior. So, like, run is a bad card. And the only upside of movements is that you have agility and aggression in the game for synergy. Um, Agility is an okay card. Aggression's a pretty bad card, just because there's not enough movement cards in the game to support it, and movement cards on their, by themselves are bad, and so like those two things just make them kind of acceptable. Um, so the fact that this only activates and it doesn't count as a movement card means you can't even use this to proc aggression, and you can't use this to proc movement. Um, and getting just +2 for the turn, right? It's like, so you're just getting the effective run without any of the synergies, and then you get like maybe like if you happen to move again, you get a different thing, and that only really synergizes with charge. There's very few things that synergize with how much you can move, and it's basically charge. So yeah, it's like +2 damage on charge for this turn, or maybe if you run and do one thing and run out, you get some benefit for that. But like if you're spending 2 movement cards, if you're spending an entire character's worth of cards plus whatever cards to do the thing they're doing just to play one card, like that's very inefficient use of movement, right? Like if you're moving a character twice in a turn, you're having a pretty inefficient turn. So, like, the whole point of having high movement is so that can, you only have to use, like, you don't have to use 2 cards to close the gap. You can use 2 cards. Is it actually fixed? That's great. I really hope that's actually fixed. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just talking about Rush now, so, and how it's still, like, it's better, but it's still garbage, because it's basically a worse run. So, yeah. This this card just this card needs to do what it does and then also give you 2 willpower. Like, or like make your next thing cost 2 less will. Like it's just movement builds are just so bad right now, because it takes like just because the movement cards themselves are just, hey Shogun, welcome. Hey, we have people. Awesome. We like to have people. EA just talking about Rush and how it's still bad because it's basically run without upside. So yeah, I don't know how to fix Rush. I don't like no sound. Really? It says that it's recording. Maybe. Okay, that might be you, Kamat. 75. Yeah. Yeah. Desktop audio and like it could be that the background music's slow. I did turn it down a little bit, but we'll get to that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um. Yeah. I have no idea how to fix Rush. I think like what Rush needs to be is that like every time you move in your turn, like draw. You can't do every time you move in turn draw a card, but yeah, maybe it's like yeah, it's like you know, if this applied to all of your characters, I mean, it'd basically be a better March, but I mean, we already have a better March in Show the Way, but on the it needs Rush needs to do something like Rush. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, reduced dex attack cost by X would help, but the problem is that like again, like when you're spending movement, especially on a melee character, like the whole point of this is to move twice. So you're only using one other card. So it's like the willpower reduction doesn't even help you that much. Because like you can't like if you're using this to activate your warrior and make them effective in combat, you're doing it for next turn. So uh will rush actually okay, rush does draw you another card. So it's not as bad. I guess a willpower reduction would do it because it does draw you a card. But it's still yeah. Yeah, it artificially costs 0. It costs 1, but it artificially costs 0 because you to draw a card. Yeah, yeah. It's for like there is benefit here in the fact that like you can like I could see this if in late game if I have a bash or like some really high priority skill that I want to use this to like essentially use it as a run that I reliably get it to, but yeah, but yeah, bonus movement's really only good if you are moving once in a turn. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't it's movement cards have to be so much better than like walk like stuff like walk and challenging stride where you have a perfectly good mobility card and a massive utility upside is where you start to see like the movement cards actually be relevant. Like like the other movement card what is it? The weakening one. Like that one needs to be 0 willpower to be even considered. It's just way too much. Yeah, not challenging stride. It's I forget the name. No, not show the way. Tackle, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if there's other things that scaled with mobility it'd work too. But yeah, there's only charge right now. So yeah, tackle is like tackle could be move 3 and inflict weaken on all adjacent enemies for 0 willpower would be good. I'd actually use that a lot, but this is just too much willpower. So yeah. Um so yeah, rush is bad. Ugh. Resourceful. My alchemist. So resourceful was broken. This does make it not broken. The problem is that resourceful was. Oh, I'll talk about burn with it. I'll talk about the heroics when we get to the next thing. Yeah, this is a bizarre card. This is a very bizarre card. Yeah, we'll hover over it. Yeah. We'll talk about Burn from Within Catalyst and then the other one on the horn, which I have on Discord. Thanks to Ames Gold. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is on a totem, if I recall correctly. But yeah, we'll pull that up in a moment. But yeah, we should definitely talk about resourceful because this is. So the problem with the like. So the reason why you could play Alchemist is because. Yeah. Yes, I did. I did 3-turn shot planer. Yes. I'm not blaming the devs for nerfing resourceful. Like they need to nerf this card. But the problem is that Alchemist is so bad other than resourceful that like Alchemist has resource here. I've actually made a little spreadsheet to talk about like cards that are relevant. Like like resourceful was the only good power that um, the alchemist had. It's basically everything, right? Because resourceful was the thing that let the alchemist do stuff quickly. It was also essentially the damage engine card. So like when I say engine card, I mean like most characters have some kind of most core characters have some kind of buff card that lets them like really ramp up damage. So Hunter has Deadeye, um, Elemental says Overload. Yes, their scaling engine. Resourceful was the Alchemist's scaling engine. Um, so it kind of served two purposes in that it cycled your deck and got your critical cards in play and was your scaling engine because basically instead of dealing a lot of damage, um, you threw out a lot of attacks. The problem is that it kind of still fulfills the first purpose. Like like when you have a small amount of draw, resourceful feels about the same right now, right? And in terms of like trying to cycle through to get critical stuff or setting up for metamorphosis or doing stuff like that, like it feels the same. It feels fine. The problem is that you can't use it as the scale engine unless you have two of them. And even with two of them, it's still pretty restrictive. And so you can't like there's just no scaling in Alchemist because like his base card like his meaty cards like Acid Fog um and Smart Infection just aren't good enough, and like his other powers are just so bad, like just so absolutely terrible that it's like you can it's very difficult to get +2 attack on the Alchemist. Like you have to go through a lot of effort just to get +2. Um, so, and he doesn't have meaty cards for like setting up. So you're basically like playing the Alchemist for like tempo metamorphosis kind of stuff and kind of pseudo supporting. But the Alchemist's early game isn't good either. So like if I'm playing a pseudo supporty character, I want one that also has good early game. So I'd much rather play the Witch, or maybe the Hunter. So yeah, I totally agree with them gutting resourceful. I think resourceful is at the power level it should be. It's just like everything else is like other than the one it cost attacks and metamorphosis, like everything else is just not playable. Um, like none of the other powers. I should actually change this to red. This deserves to be red. Um, None of the other powers are playable, and like Smart Infection's like situational. Acid Fog is. I'm at the point where I'm not taking Acid Fog really anymore. It's just not. Even in acid builds, it's not good enough. Um, and Frenzy Potion is too chaotic for me to like. Frenzy Potion's in concept is good, but yeah. I mean, I think so. The the thing about resourceful, because I'm trying to think about like how to change resourceful. Resourceful, what it does independently isn't bad, right? Like the idea of like, okay, I play a draw card, and then I get another draw card. It's willpower positive. I get some benefit. That's actually pretty cool. The thing that makes resourceful broken is the fact that it combos into itself, right? Like when you have only a couple draw cards, resourceful feels very fair and feels very cool, and we like it a lot. The problem is that when you get your deck to have this critical massive draw, you can not quite go infinite, but you can like cycle your deck 2 times, and you just like it scales exponentially. And like if resourceful red like whenever you draw a card, gain 1 willpower. Instead of every time you draw a card, draw another one. It would probably you'd probably feel like resourceful is a bit fairer. It's like a good example of like what would make like it's just the bounding of like the ability to draw into more draw cards is what makes it crazy. Like the idea of getting extra card draw in your deck isn't crazy. It's the fact that you can get extra draw from your extra draw from your extra draw from your extra draw. Um, so yeah, I I mean the way they have resourceful now is fine. It's just like I need to be drawing into things that are relevant. If I'm not going to like resourceful can't also resourceful is not able to draw things that are relevant and also make them relevant. They can only draw into things that are relevant, and Alchemist just doesn't have things that are relevant. So yeah, I think resourceful Alchemist is a bit too high early right now. It was fun though, 3 turning planers. It was very fun. You will be missed. You will be missed indeed. But yeah, that's kind of my analysis. Yeah. I mean, Alchemist has been like you're right, Kapasa, to a degree that this has been problematic for a while, but yeah, it's I don't know. Hopefully with this change, like they will lower like the crazy bounding on Alchemist enough that they can actually get it right. So, and start buffing the other stuff correctly. So, I'm hopeful. If we have other fun stuff to play with, such as the other content updates that they didn't describe but that we're going to go through. So new enemy type, we got harpies. I like the harpies. Uh, the harpies are probably one of the easier encounters. I they're about as hard as hybrids I find in that like I never feel like I'm going to be thrown in a situation in harpies where like I can't win the fight. The question is whether I do it with little to no damage or whether I take a wound. Um, yeah, yeah. Or the flying green things. I think they're harpies. I'm pretty sure they're harpies or furies. I call them. When I say furies, I'm thinking of like the the terrifying encounter. Pterodactyls, green flying things that multi attack you. Yeah. Um. Yeah, they're. The nice thing about them is that you're very often looking for immobilizes and very often looking for burst damage, which are the things that counter them. So you end up kind of just happenstantially being able to fight them. Yeah, the greenies have aggression. Yeah, those guys. Um, so yeah, I always hunt them out. Like they're typically like a good thing to fight for levels. They do dilute the encounter pool a little bit for some of your critical things in like the living world ruins if you're trying to get volcanic keystones and honing. But yeah, um, yeah, their only really scary card is they have a double strike, but they don't use it that often. Um, yeah, so you can you can deal with these. I find the 2 harpy encounter you can almost always beat without any damage. When they get up to 4, you're probably going to take a little damage depending on how you high roll. The only problem you really have with harpies is if you have a very slow deck. If you have a very slow deck, you're having problems with every encounter anyway. So, I yeah, I like the new enemy type. It's good. It plays a little differently. The AI isn't super smart, so and there's a lot of ways you can manipulate the AI by like putting 2 targets that are well armored within next to each other and then separating the other ones, and they'll always like fly in there. So, like smart AI like the Bandit Lord can be really problematic, but these guys have pretty predictable ones. Um, yeah, yeah. So it's good. I like it. Yeah, they're. I'm never. Yeah, I can. They like. It's nice to have oscillids and pterodactyls as things I can reliably fight in the open. Um, Like typically right now, you always hunt down the Ocelots. You mostly go for the Ratmen, especially if they're not the Archer ones. You typically avoid Shard unless you're early game and you're strong. Um, you you always you typically avoid humans unless they're wardens. You always avoid bandits. Um, and rat are like neutral. So this being on like the easier scale, like on the like pretty much are just slightly more difficult than the like, they're about the same as the Ocelots. Like I look at these as the same as Ocelots. So like they're just a really nice, reliable way to get XP. So this definitely buffs the runs. This is definitely like a player buff. So yeah. All right, they're heroics. Yeah. So we're gonna just hop into the items. So we'll go with the one no one has seen at all. Right? Is it in here or is it on a legendary item? Oh, in terms of the new heroics or the no, I'm going into that. I'm just trying to pull them up. I always like to pull them up with the items. I think the one is on a legendary only actually. Or maybe no, maybe it's on a tome. Maybe on a new tome. Is there a new purple tome? No, there's not. It's not on a staff, is it? Oh yes, I found the focus beam staff. I like I like the concept of focus beam. I think this is an interesting card. Uh, where? Yeah, it does. I'd love a legendary compendium at the very least, but yeah. All right. I think I found this on the legendary, so I don't know. So we'll just head back to. Which is probably why none of you have seen it yet, because it's. I forget which one I found it on. It was with one like it was with like a totem legendary or something, um, or like it had like maybe like one of the demonic ones, but yeah, burn from within. Uh, this card is really bad. This card is like, uh, I mean, so most enemies in the game are going to have 3 cards. So this is a 2 willpower, deal 3. Yeah, I'm willing to talk about Focus Beam too. Though it's not in the. Oh, it is in the Compendium. But, yeah. Because they did change Focus Beam since last I talked about it. Yeah. But we'll start with Burn from Within. Yeah, this card is just bad. Alright, everyone wants to talk about Focus. We'll talk about Focus Beam. Yeah. Yeah, Focus Beam's fine now. Yeah, it's... Yeah, so Focus Beam is not really a card that you think about using on your main character. You put Focus Beam on something like your Witch, or your Warlord if you, for some reason you're running Warlord, or your support Rat, and basically it's a one-turn, like, the enemy has powers and armor, I need to remove that and do some damage. It's basically like... It's basically kind of fills the role of Crush in, yeah, it basically fills the role of Crush in boss fights, or against elites. It's basically, yeah, the magic equivalent of Crush. Which, yeah, so I haven't gotten it, but I definitely Like it's on a staff that has force field, which is a bad card, but it's a support card, so it's can't be too terrible. Um, so yeah, I could see like you get an astral conduit, you hone off the missiles, and then you put this on your support character. And basically, if like your main carry has a bad turn, you can use focus beam to take off powers. It's really just like this one stand on its own good power. Because like zero willpower deal one is fine. One willpower deal three magic is good. One two like all the number thresholds are fine for a magic spell. Um, like three willpower deal seven is fine. Like they're all fine. Um, and yeah, the scaling works. It's not gonna break the bank, but it's going to be like I can give my non carry a efficient attack that will like like if I need to take summoner off the necromancer, this will do it. Or if I need to take like two powers off the planar, this will do it. Um, so yeah, I think it's good. It definitely needed the buff, but I think it's good. So and the staff that it's on works for the type of character you're going to throw this on. So I do think force field needs a buff in general. Because force field just like I want to run force field so badly, but it's like the amount of willpower to the amount of effective armor is just like so bad. So, but yeah, focus beam is where I think it should be. And of course, there's always the meme when you use it with uh channeling. So you can have some fun with that. But yeah, yeah, 8. Yeah, this can be. You can deal 17 damage with this in one turn. Um, and 17 damage can one shot several of the elites, which is kind of nice. Um, you can one shot. You can one shot the. You can one shot the sorcerer before armor, I think. You can definitely one shot the fire guy, and you can one shot the wizard. Yeah, you can also one shot brutes. Like this is the critical amount of damage that like if you're spending your entire turn doing it, then it does enough. And the nice thing is you can also tune that damage amount. Yeah, this amount of damage is kind of what like Heartseeker needs to be doing when you hit exposed. Like Heartseeker needs to do like 17 damage or so, or like stuff like that. And this does it. So, yeah, I like Focus Beam. Yeah. So back to the ones that were changed this patch. Burn from Within. Heartseeker is bad because throwing stars are OP. Yeah, and it's also bad because it's never like as a base card it's terrible, and when you get it, when you put in all the effort to get exposed working, it still doesn't work. Yeah. So, yeah. Like I don't even think in competition. I think just baseline like you don't want this in your deck. It's way too situational. And even in the situation it works, it's still not good enough. It doesn't like actually one shot. Like you're spending your entire turn setting up Heartseeker, and then when you get it off, you don't actually like kill the target you're hitting. So, but let's talk about other stuff. Yeah, let's shout. Yeah, yeah. This is just. And the thing is that high cataclysm with bosses, like oftentimes this does zero damage, and it's a like here's the thing, right? It's a heroic that doesn't win you the fight. Like I talked about this, like heroics either need to be just plain good and you can cast them whenever. They need to win you the fight when you cast them, or they need to be on a supporty character that like you want to precisely time it. Um, this does none of those. It's just this is a really bad heroic. The magic damage needs to be like this card just needs to be reworked. There's I don't even want to think about this card because it's like reducing the damage by 3 for each card in the target's hand. Like it's just not doing what a heroic should function as. Like yeah, like I like the name and the art's good, but it's like what you want out of her like this card needs to do so much damage that it one-shots thing, right? This card is this it's not only needs to do so much that it needs to one-shot things. It needs to do more than that because this requires multiple cards of setup and multiple build-arounds, right? This is even worse than Heartseeker. Like fundamentally what this card does on a heroic is just not good. It's just not good. Like this is a card that should be like a basic card in terms of power. Like this is a very situational effect that you hone off. like this card is what you put on a purple that you hone like off like it's just what it's trying to do is just so bad that yeah, like the numbers on it are like I mean a 2 willpower deal 3 against a lot of enemies is going to be okay, but it's always just going to stay that way. It's never going to get above a good card against bosses. It's going to be spend 3 cards to waste 3 cards. It's going to be a bad head crack. So yeah, yeah. But even if they are synergistic, it's still often not enough. Um, like you need a lot of support to make stuff like that work. So. Because like it's not just good enough for a card like this for like the legendaries to synergize with it. Like it's good enough if you have a power that does it, right? If you have a power that like an aura power that like causes a discard every turn, then that's good enough, right? But the thing is that like you have to in this game, because holding on to a card costs you a draw and costs you willpower. You have to understand that like getting 2 cards to coincide together without like you either need a lot of them so it naturally happens, or you have to, or it has to be good enough where you can do that and accept the willpower loss, right? Like to combo this with something, you have to essentially add. I think I did the math. You essentially has to add 2 willpower to hold one of the cards in your hand to reliably get it off. So yeah. So it's yeah, you need like you either need a glut of cards that synergize with it, or you need to have a persistent effect to synergize with it, or or it just has to be so good that it works with it just like it's worth the willpower cost, right? This is one of the reasons why critical strike is really bad, right? Like on melee characters, offensive powers are essentially temporary buffs. You can kind of you can only reliably use them for the turn. So for critical strike to be good, like this needs to like either have a higher base stats, or you literally need to have like times 6. Like if it's all damage bonuses count times 6, then critical strike would actually like I'm not joking when I say that, like because it's like you have to coincide your power with critical strike to work it. And the same exact thing applies here. Like you have to coincide your discard with this. Yeah. Yeah. So so it's like it's It's just, yeah, very bad card. Fortunately, we got a good card. We got a very good card. we got this card probably changes the game. This is probably the most game-changing card we've gotten. Um, ever. Catalyst is. It's not broken. I can't even say it's very good, but yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be a yeah. It's just hard to monitor that because Kabasin because it's like I don't know. You have to have a standardized hand count. No, Blizzard's not new. They changed Blizzard last patch or 2 patches ago, but yeah, Blizzard's been around for forever. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, yeah, we'll move on from Burn with it because it's just this. What this is trying to do is just not good for a heroic. Yeah, Catalyst. Catalyst is good. Catalyst is. So I will preface this by saying that Catalyst on a heroic that redraws itself, right? Like I gave 3 criterion for heroics. Catalyst doesn't exactly fit any of those. Because all the status effects are slow, but what Catalyst does allow you to do is allows a whole nother archetype to work, and that is the Acid archetype. It's still not perfect when you grab Catalyst, and the debuff archetype in general. But yeah, this card, yeah, debuff Elementalist was already very good, and this card means that the debuff Elementalist now has boss damage scaling. And so yeah, now you can pick up 2 acid you can get 2 acid flask cards, have a catalyst, have slow burn and intensifies, and basically kill bosses semi-reliably. There's still a lot you need to have to make it work, but this card, yeah, this card opens up an entire new archetype in the game. Yeah. Ironically, I don't find it opens up the Alchemist. I think the Alchemist is still bad enough that you can't really go an Acid build. You can really only go Acid Elementalist. Um, yeah, but it's Acid is a very good effect. And the reason why Acid is a very good effect is not just because it scales for a lot of damage, but both Burning and Acid help strip armor in future turns, which against normal enemies isn't good. You just want to kill them quickly, but against bosses, having delayed damage lets you get to their powers and lets you get to stuff like Abjuration and lets you get to lets you hit Summoner. And so yeah, being able to build up damage for future turns is really nice, and Catalyst can get you so much acid that like once you apply it, you're basically like Catalyst can let you get to acid numbers well above 10 quick enough that it's relevant, and that means that your acid will be enough to essentially knock out the powers, knock out the big things, kill the boss eventually, and you can just play defensive and damage control. So it doesn't instantly win you the fight, and there's definitely times where I felt like acid builds are definitely risky if you don't have a lot of card draw to get the acid in play reliably, and you don't have enough. Like you still have to. It doesn't auto win you the fight. And I've experienced this a lot because I've gotten to the planar 3 or 4 times in the last 2 days, and I've still died to it because of like bad sequencing. And I need to like refine my acid builds to do that. But this on top of the acid flask changes, yeah. So currently there is the acid flask card. There's 3 acid cards which give you acid flask, the power which is really bad. There's catalyst, and then there's the acid bomb from there's the acid bomb from the alchemist, and there's also hex. Hex. Yes, hex can high roll acid sometimes. Um, Also, intensify can get you acid if you already have it. Um, so, and technically, aura of pain can give you it, but despite my deepest efforts to make aura of pain work, it's not good. But yeah. Um, so yeah. Yeah. So right now, in my opinion, the debuff build is probably the best build in the game at taking out bosses. Um, Overload's up there. And I think with the changes this week, we might actually be able to go back to Overload builds because the Lich has been changed. Um, yeah, but um, yeah. In general, I find that if you have, honestly, if you have, so yeah, Overload is slow. I am able to beat the Lich with just one acid card with slow burn and some intensifies. Um, you really don't need that much, and I find that, yeah. So, I think in God Hunter the planar is really the only thing that I feel like I need a lot more acid scaling with, um, and in Water Gem, the Necro you don't need as much if you have good AOE and Power Steal, um, but like it's essentially a trade-off. I do feel like you want a little more against the Necro, and you definitely want more against the Dragon. Um, but yeah, I think two acid flasks plus elementalist support um, is good enough for most bosses reliably, and then the like really hefty bosses you need a catalyst. So yeah, so I I think the acid builds are quite doable. I've been having a harder time finding mithril recently, which is like the one difficulty about catalyst. It's on a potion slot item, and there's no way to reduce the cost of potions, and it's also just in that like it also requires wood and bones, which are also in high contention. Like you need, yeah, I say two sources of acid plus catalyst can do it. If you're running elementalist, right? If you're not running elementalist, I don't think you can really do acid builds. Um, yeah, but if you are, yeah, yeah. The problem with not having intensify and slow burn is that so acid is better the faster you get it out because it ticks down, right? It's better to apply like 4 acid on one turn than it is to apply 2 acid on one and 2 acid on the next, um, because of like the quadratic nature of it. So, and the thing about having powers and intensifies to help you with that is that you can reliably like it's much easier for the elementalist to concentrate the acid in a specific turn and get it out faster. Um, Whereas like if say you're playing the alchemist, you have to actually draw and throw each card to apply 2 acid. Whereas with the elementalist, you can apply 3 with one card, which is a pretty big deal. Um, the other thing is that intensify and slow burn work with a lot of other debuffs, and which is also really good. Like getting defenseless 2 on some fights is really important. Immobilize 2 or immobilize 3 is really insane. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of yeah. I I find the elementals is just immensely better. The other thing to realize is that like you don't really need acid to be fully online to beat earlier bosses in generally, and typically for the bosses where you really want the acid, you typically guarantee you have one soul gem. And one soul gem gives you 2 acid flasks on the elementalists, because you have one in your potion slot and you have one in your non-potion slot. So, yeah, just the way the bosses are currently configured, you can. The Necromancer is kind of the exception because you kind of want a little more acid for the Necromancer than you can currently get. And so, yeah, I actually think God Hunter right now is a little easier than Water Gem just because of the fact that you have to take a fight where you are much more. That's a much more tempo oriented. You want to get the acid out much faster than in because in in uh in God Hunter, the Lich fight is hard, but it's not actually as scary as the Necromancer. Uh, so yeah, we'll talk about Wing Sash. So, well, we'll talk about Wing Sash. I think Wing Smash is interesting. Um, I think this is actually a bigger change than people. We'll talk about Wing Smash, but yeah, that's Catalyst. Uh, and then there's one more that we got that I currently don't have, but Shared Strength. This is on the purple horn. Um, so the horns give you the first level gives you coordinate. The second level gives you coordinate plus the scout, which lets you knock off. Um, yeah, no, I definitely think Lich is easier. Lich is Necromancer, but you only have to worry about the powers. You don't have to kill the minions too. Yeah, you don't need AOE to deal with the yeah. And the other thing is that yeah, it's just yeah, like if you have a build that can beat Lich, you will beat Lich. Whereas the Necromancer, you need like a lot to get the redundancy down. Um, so yeah, yeah, coordinate plus disrupt. Yeah, yeah, both. So this is a. I don't like this card very much. So coordinate is a very good card. You build hybrid horns. Um, oh, sorry. I can't really. Can I blow this up? I can't. Oh, I can. Sweet. Yeah. Um, yeah. Draw 1 card for each time any character has drawn 1 or more card this turn. Yeah. So both the horns are good. I want to emphasize that both the horns, the green and the blue horn, the hybrid and basilisk horn are good. Coordinate's a great card. Um, yeah, yeah. This is definitely good on Pendant Hunter. But they're great cards, but they are support cards, with the exception of Pendant and Old Alchemist. And because that's just what they do. Like Coordinate, you use to concentrate cards on your core, unless you're trying to chain draw into it. And the other one, the Disrupt, you put it on a supporty character to hold onto and take off powers. It's basically the same thing you do with Steal, borrow power. So Shared Strength is... It's bad in the sense that you're drawing cards on a character you typically don't want to draw cards on. unless you're going a very particular build. The other thing is that this kind of has the same kind of tax that a lot of other draw card, like a lot of other synergy cards have, in that it's um, like you have to hold on to stuff to get synergies with it, and the fact that like this can recur over and over means you're putting this minor wound in a draw deck that you don't really want to be putting in there, and so this card just feels like if this card had draw a card on it, it'd be good, because then I could just throw it out, and it'd be fine. But as it stands, you can't do that, and I'm going to guess that you can't. This game has this really idiosyncratic thing where you can't cast spells if it doesn't have any effect. So like you can't cast Flame Fan against no one. You can't like. Yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, like, yeah, idiosyncratic. Yeah, so I can't just cast this to get it out of my deck like a bad head crack or a good head crack. Like, I don't know. This is, yeah. I, yeah. I just, yeah. Selfless does make this better, but you're not always like. I'm not gonna craft a purple horn because it's like it's rare that I craft a blue horn, and I'm not gonna craft a purple one. Like I have better use for my mithril. Um, and I'm not going to like when I'm at the choice to get selfless. Like I'm not going to choose whether I get selfless or not based on my anticipation of getting shared strength. Yeah, yeah. So it's like yeah. I mean, it's the other thing to also realize is that there's right? Like this caps out at 5. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's like if like I can't build around this to like win in one turn because I'm only drawing 5 cards, which granted is a really nice thing, but it's not like I can't go out of my way to like have this like if I could draw 10 cards in a turn, then like okay, maybe this stupid explosive turn where I win in one turn could happen, but it's not going like there's a natural cap to this as well. Yeah. So yeah, in this yeah, this just doesn't fit the criterion of a heroic. It's not a good thing to hold on to for a specified moment on a support. It's not good on its own, and it doesn't win you the game when you play it. So it's like it's just gonna bloat your decks, and it's sometimes there'll be like this really nice draw thing where you get essentially like 3 extra willpower in a round, but a lot of times it's going to hemorrhage you needed cards that you need to draw. So it's definitely not the worst heroic. Like it's definitely like if I find a purple horn and don't have honing, I'm still going to play it because the purple horn is just like the horns are just really good. Like the card this is on, the item this is on is really good, but it's just not. Like I don't even know if I want this on a high draw class. Like I don't even know if I want this with Resourceful Alchemist or Pendant Hunter. Like I don't. Like this could actually trip those classes up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I think this is actually a card you hone off. I legit think that. Like on the situations where this is actually useful, this could also be like a very perilous card. Just because if you happen to draw this in situations where you don't get to keep drawing, then like where you haven't drawn in a turn, like yeah, I if this card is castable without having drawn a card, it's okay. If you can't cast this without like if you can't just get rid of this, this card can be very bad. Um, like this card can be very bad in a deck where you can't just get rid of it. Um, yeah, that's that's what scares me about shared strength. Um, Obviously, I haven't played it, but yeah, if you can't just cast it, it's like because the decks that you want to cycle a lot, you specifically can't have bloat, right? Like it's okay to have like a situational bloaty thing on a deck that you just don't care about, but like in the situation where this could be used, it's it's dangerous. There's just the chance that this low rolls on a boss, and then you're just stuck with it in your hand for like 2 turns, and you lose 2 critical draws, and you just lose the game because you can't get rid of it because it has no effect when you just cast it without cards. So yeah, I don't think it's good enough on its own, even if you could just get rid of it. Like I think it'd be like acceptable, but it wouldn't be worth playing around. So yeah, not my cup of tea for a heroic. Yeah, but I don't know if you can, right? Like, because a lot of cards in the game, like if they have no effect, the game won't let you play it. Oh, you can. That makes it a little better. Okay. All right. If you can play this with and just draw 0 cards, that makes it usable. That just makes it a 1 card blow, which is not horrific. And sometimes you get upside. All right. Yeah, that makes it better. That makes it playable. In this specific situation, that will rarely come up. So, yeah. Yeah. It's still a bit too situational for me to be excited about it, but at least it's not dangerous. So, or terribly dangerous. All right. So, yeah. That's get this back to normal. That normal. Call that normal. So yeah, that's my opinion on 0.26. Basically, we got Catalyst, which is super awesome, and Alchemist is garbage again. So and Protect is cool. Yeah. The most craft item in the game. Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, so attuned cards are very different than like good cards. I think like so most of the time you attune a card that throwing stars. I I could see that. I mean, personally, it's not. Um, Personally, it's probably Aegis Tome, but I could see Throwing Stars being the most crafted item. Yeah. This card's buggy. I just want to say this card is not. It's either buggy or not good, but yeah. Oh, Epic Crafted item. Yeah. Yeah, Ninja Throwing Stars is definitely there. Yeah. I. There's very few other purple side craft. I do sometimes craft the Astral Tome when I have the Arcanist and I don't and my I have nothing to put on my core and I want to get a support card. I have done that a few times, though I'm considering doing that less. It doesn't seem to be like Sanctuary is not. It's good, but it's not as game changing as I'd like. But yeah. But now to the but yeah. So that's 0.26 for me. I like this patch. I've been enjoying going for debuff builds. I mean I'm getting a little sick of debuff builds, but on flawless pot. Do I have a flaw? Do I have a flawless pot? Flawless, which I assume you mean flawless speed. Oh, flawless protection potion. Or flawless stimulant. It's okay. I'd much rather have. Where's the quiver? So I'd much rather have fast quiver. So I don't like crazed all that much. I think crazed is okay, but I find that when I'm playing with volley fires, I often have too many powers because I have abjuration. Like I have abjuration, volley fire, uh, Deadeye, or some other, or battle stance, and then one other, and that's either offensive stance or I have some like engine power. Yeah, I can see with the Omar, but yeah, I'd much rather have fast quiver. It's much cheaper to build. It's really nice having the quick shot in those builds. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just prefer fast quiver most of the time. Yeah. That's one of the also problems with acidic coating is because it's slow and you often need other powers to work with when you're going with like I've tried acidic coating volley fire builds and I've only done it once and it was actually on my elementalist. So yeah. Yeah, I actually built elementalist with throwing knives, so that was kind of hilarious. But yeah. All similar like it's okay. I don't like Rage all that much. Rage is like a good early game card and then it kind of falls off. But yeah. Rage is a really good card on a character that doesn't want to do anything for a turn and then wants to do stuff. So yeah. Yeah, that's not to say flawless is bad. Like if I run into a flawless, I'm like I am I definitely will like shape my build to account for it. But it's it's not my go-to craftable. Especially now that we have pure acid. Like this type of equipment, I'm looking to build pure acids, so yeah. That's that. But I do want to get to 0.27 because this is exciting. Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, yeah, definitely. Acidic cushioning should definitely cost 2 willpower. It's super slow, and a lot of times you just lose the power after you cast it because you're not doing anything to affect the board. Like it doesn't give you any immediate effect, so like it's often just yeah. It could definitely be 2 willpower. It's definitely not scary at 2 willpower. There's an abjuration rally alertness potion. What? Oh, most attuned card. Oh, never mind. I put that as potions. Uh, abjuration potentially. Um, so personally, I mostly tune. I used to tune abjuration. I don't know. I currently attune acid flask. I used to tune eldritch blast a lot. Um, I could. I'd attune um, alertness when I was going my rat builds. I never would really attune rally, though I don't think rally is. I definitely want to experiment with rally more. Um, battle stance on if I want to make a core that's not normally a core, a core. Um, yeah, I don't know. A lot of the good attunable spells that would normally be attunable or that you're interested in. Oh, fireball. Fireball's way up there. Fireball is way up there. Um, yeah, I definitely sometimes attune fireballs in water gem. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff that you'd like to attune are heroics, and you can't attune heroics. So yeah, there's not many cards that have like a good criterion for attuning. So necrotic spear, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I like the idea of necrotic spear, but it needs to be necrotic spear. So this is one thing I want. I want the totems to be kind of reworked. Like the totems are very weird. Like I think necrotic spear should be on like Damon's skull. I'd like to see Eldritch Grass necrotic spear. Like we don't really have hot, fast, bursty magic right now. Um, and I I'd like to see like the totem. You never really craft totems except for the summoners, um, and I might experiment with Eagle Eyes and a little bit or Perfect Aims a little bit more. But like in general, like if I roll an Eagle Eye, but like in general, yeah, I've never crafted these, and the fact that they have costs reduction makes them a little interesting. I have crafted a tainted. Have I crafted a tainted skull? I may have. Yeah. I. Yeah. It's also a little weird that we don't have a green skull. It's a little bizarre. I'd also like to see more stuff to be able to use with metal, like blue metal, because right now we have helmets, we have bracers, we have heavy weapons, uh, we have blades, and we have heavy armor. Okay, I guess the left half. Okay, yeah, the armor's I don't know. It just feels like all the good stuff is with wood. Like all the good stuff is with wood. Like all the gears and potions and equipments. Yeah. Wood is so valuable. Like I actually prefer the uncommon ingredients over rare metal now. Like I really only like I love Tower Shield, but it's so hard to spend a wood on it. So yeah, yeah. Wood wins games. Like wood is so good. Like I wish either potions or equipment used metal, because then it'd be really interesting. Um, like I wish yeah I wish yeah Like if I could make a spyglass with metal, I'd make so many of these. And if I could make like torches with metal, I'd love that. And if I could make like dwarven lanterns with metal and yeah, living chains with metal and I mean half this gear feels like it should be metal and not wood. Like other than the quivers, that's 3 wood. My gosh, that's not worth 3 wood. Yeah. So, anyhow, that's yeah. Eldritch Spear's bad, but I think it's an interesting card, but I think it just needs to be on someone that's like want to be focusing down bursting things. Um, yeah, and we don't really have that in the Magic domain. Like because you're bursting everything with headshot, you're never really killing stuff. Your bursty characters are not killing stuff with Eldritch Spear. So headshot's just a better Eldritch Spear. So I know that sounds a little idiosyncratic, but it's the reality right now. So it's not a bad card. It's just not in the right places. So yeah, yeah. What I'd actually really like, is if there was a follower that lets you upgrade armors and upgrade equipment, right? Um, like go from metal plates to runic plates, or go, like if I could spend like resources, like if I could upgrade a acidic file to a pure acid with just mithril, that would be cool. That would be very cool. Um, yeah, a conversion thing would also be nice. But the thing is that there's currently like not that like I'm still running out of bones and wood. It's just like the conversion would let me get screwed a lot more. Yeah, yeah. Because it also mean like if I roll into like a acidic files, it'd be like, oh, I could go an acid build now. And if I go into like a major protection potion, I could be like, oh, I could get sanctuary with some mithril. It'd make mithril a lot more valuable. You'd have to increase the amount of mithril in the game. Um, but yeah. So yeah, I definitely I don't I like where crafting is in terms of the fact that like I can only craft 1 or 2 purple items, but I like how restricted it is. But I'd like it so that like if I run into an acidic file in the run, I can yeah yeah I like to me adapting to the items you get is cool, and having it upgradable would like make keep the adaptability um, in the game. So yeah, yeah, yeah. It might, yeah, yeah, yeah. A minus for that is that the items are not best in this. Yeah. So yeah, it also make build paths a little more interesting, right? Because like I could build an early hybrid horn with the anticipation of upgrading it to like um, a basilisk horn against like the lich eventually, or I can yeah. There's no. Is there a minor clarity potion? That's pretty bad. But yeah, like you can do stuff like tech cards for early game that like matriculate into later game builds. Yeah. So yeah, Yeah, blue plus mithril equals epic. I kind of like that idea because that changes. Yeah, I like that idea. And then a green and a blue to go to rare. Because that also gives you multiple build paths. Like if I want to get a, say I want to get a like major clarity potion, I could use 3 bones and a wood or 2 bones and 2 wood to get there. And then I can either use like 2 bones and 3 wood and 1 mithril, or it shifts things around a little bit, so it's a little more flexible. So it's also not as high rolly. I like that. Yeah, the other reason why I like that is because at the like there's a very weird thing where it's like you can get like a lot of wood, but you can't necessarily play like a high wood run, or you can get a lot of metal, but you can't play like a high metal run. Um, yeah, because you need specific amounts, and like having flexibility would help that. It'd also be cool if I could make uncommons with metal, or because that happens too. Yeah, I think a little more, yeah, a little more nuance in how you can upgrade items and how you can play with items would be nice. Not yet. Sorry about that. I had to talk with someone, so yeah. All right. Let's do 0.27. I actually have some stuff soon, so let's do it. But yeah, crafting could be improved a little bit for sure. But yeah, let's get to the new patch because we had some interesting changes, particularly the one we've all been wanting forever. Shocked got buffed. I know it says changed, but it got buffed. Shocked is yes. Whenever hit by melee range attack, deal 1 magic damage to all friendlies within 2 spaces. Ah, ah, this is so nice. This isn't gonna make lightning bolt good, but this is gonna make chain lightning and call lightning feel really good. Like, so first off, this will make call lightning mean you can. This basically does 1 extra damage when you're like focus firing someone with call lightning plus your ranged character. Which means we can now 1-shot 9 HP or 2-shot 9 HP enemies in specific situations, which is nice because there's a lot of 9 HP enemies, specifically the pterodactyls and the human bounty hunters. Um, so that's a big change. This will also mean that, yeah, yeah, it'd be nice, but this is like, yeah, this will also mean that we can shred groups of enemies with lightning. Like, if there's more than, yeah, it's going to do a lot more against clumps. It's going to let us focus people down more. If I roll lightning on hacks, it'll help against bosses. This will also mean that if I apply shocked against bosses, it's essentially a steroid form. It's like exposed now. I mean, it's 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 subpar, but it's like it's the fact that you're also coupling this with extra damage. Like, it's yeah, it's like it's very versatile, right? This has gone from something that's being super duper situational to being okayly good to being like good in a lot of situations. Um, Specifically when you're focusing down long range enemies or you're dealing with lots of mobs of them. Like, lightning is now a major AoE effect. Yeah. Right. It's like for instance, like right now, yeah. I will say this is a little this can be a little scarier on some of the water gem bosses. Though actually I feel like this is a little better for the player too. Because the problem with the old shock is like you would sometimes RNG like get wrecked by a random lightning bolt that took out a power, and this is going to reduce the chance of that happening. So yeah, shocks can actually happen more often now because if I'm taking the cracked staff now for just redraws, I might actually be casting lightning bolts more now. Um, you also take chain lightning in water gem, so there's also some the debuff staff has lightning on it too. So there's actually several situations where you get lightning. And you may actually take cracked staff over flame staff now. So uh, yeah. So yeah, I like this change a lot. Shock definitely need to be buff. It's also good for Hex. Because now Hex actually does something when you shock a boss. So like when you hex a high priority target, it actually does something. So definitely like this change. Definitely just basically a flat buff to shocked. So this is usable. I'm probably gonna start with cracked staffs now instead of fireballs like flame staffs. So I think we'll find this is a little more than okay-ish. I The other thing to understand, right, is that like crack staff plus multi-shot combos. You have like lightning with multi-shot now is like going to clear an entire board. Like you have lightning plus like lightning plus the melee heroic that does AoE is going to yeah is going to like hurt. Like obviously these are specific combos, but this is good on its own, and there's a few situations where like this will just clear a fight. Um, yeah, so it's good. I like it. I like it. I wouldn't make it any stronger. Like I feel like debuffs in general like are meant to be like generally smaller effects. So this is this is good. Then we got Dire Bat, or as I like to call OP Bat. I mean, the bat is good. The bat is good. This bat is something. So, my gosh, this is such a. So like bat was just like the summon you didn't want to have, but you just took it because you needed something, and it just died instantly to everything. And sometimes you get exposed and you do a dance and then like party for like 3 days and then come back to the game and realize it was just exposed, but you don't care because you actually got exposed off. Yeah, one willpower summon is so efficient. It's so good. It's and the fact that it's 4 health is such a big deal because now it doesn't randomly die to things. It doesn't randomly die to lightning bolts. It doesn't randomly die to fire. It doesn't randomly die, which means it actually can stick around for a turn. Which means not only can you get the exposed off, but it actually blocks for like an entire extra attack or an entire extra willpower. And also one willpower, so it's like it's like I'm taking dire bats. Like Hunter now has 3 viable summons and not 2. Like we're taking dire bats. Like This is a huge buff to early game Hunter. There's also a huge buff to exposed synergies. It's it's just this is good. Yeah. So yeah. No, this is good. This is just I might actually take this over Bone Wolf. I probably don't take this over Glass Lizard, but I definitely take this over Bone Wolf. This is so good. I do think Hunter needs a bit of a buff, and I think this is cool. I'm excited for this. Alright, we're gonna move on to Wing Smash. So this is a buff to the players, in my opinion. Because it's this is not a buff for the players because you take Wing Smash. This is a buff for the players because your enemies Wing Smash your core, and then they push them farther away. So, like, if I'm facing the dragon and he jumps on my elementalist and Wing Smashes her across the battlefield, I'm happy about that. So, like, I want my like the only time you don't want to be Wing Smashed is against the spike back. Um, and when you're facing the spike back, you intentionally brace yourself against walls. So this doesn't do anything against that. Yeah, it puts you out of play. Yeah, it's helpful. Um, and also if you're using it for utility, it does improve the utility a lot. Yeah. um, like you typically want to be away from your opponents, and 4 is a ton of distance. Like if you have the clear line to do it, um, Wing Smash now like it takes 2 movement or 2 willpower worth of stuff to actually like move out of move 4. There's no character in the game. There's no mob I know of that has run. So yeah. That's that. I I probably will still hone off Wing Smash, but I don't know. I'd love this on Warrior. I'd love this on Warrior, but I don't know if there's a way you can get it on Warrior. But it's interesting. Four is definitely significant. 4 is much more than 3 and 2. It's much more. Granted, there's a lot of times you're not gonna be able to do it because of geometry, but you're going far. I like it. This is like a straight buff to players. So, mhm. No, nothing yet. I haven't caused. I caused TGS. They're still working. Earlier today, like this morning. We'll know once it's done. So. Sorry, I'm organizing stuff with people, but yeah. Yeah. It's a buff for yeah. The only place where this is a nerf is against a very few select situations against the spike back. It makes bosses worse. It's good. It's good for us that bosses knock us back farther. Yeah, yeah. It's this this means that I don't have to move after I get wing smashed. Yeah. So yeah, I I mean I'm happy to get a buff. I mean the dragon fight's hard, especially if it gets in melee range of one of your critical guys. So I and yeah, this is interesting. I might actually also consider keeping it, which is I'll have to play around with it, but I could see myself use it because this is also like the farthest we can push someone in the game. Like the most we can do, like typically the pushes are two. I'm trying to think of a 3-1, but this is the first four. This is a lot of distance. This is a ton of distance. Yeah, this is also. It's not only a ton of distance, it's like. It's cheap. It's a zero willpower thing. It is melee, but it is cheap. So. I can feel this. There's definitely. This is also great against the hybrid elites, against the hybrids in general. Like, four distance against hybrid. Like, the one that chases you. Whenever you hit them, like ending a turn with that and knocking him four and forcing him to have run lunging strike or use two cards to get back to you is just like that's so good. It's so much better. Yeah, sweet against hybrid berserker. This is sweet against the bandit lord too. There's a lot of situations where this could be good. I forget if there's an item other than Aegis Tome that gets you Wing Smash. Sacred Tome does. But you can't put that on a lot of melee characters. Is there... There's not an Aegis shield, is there? No. That would make sense. Why we don't have an Aegis with Wing Smash is beyond me. There's no helm with it, right? No. There's no heavy armor. Oh, is there a flight potion? There's no flawless flight potion with Wing Smash. Major potion of flight should have Wing Smash. Yeah, I just have quick thinking. That'd make more sense. I yeah. I like shields. Oh, is there a bracer? There might be a bracer. I feel like there's something with another Wing Smash on it, but maybe it's just the tomes. Wing Smashes definitely feels like a shield thing. Definitely feels like a you're swatting them away. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I could see myself with a Sacred Tome running. Like I could see myself. You know where I see this? I see this where I put this on the witch. Run my witch in to either just knock them away or I run them into Iron Curse the dragon and then Wing Smash them. Like I could see that being a very good turn against the dragon for a support like character. Doing Iron Curse plus Wing Smash because that will kill a power that'll dislocate them. Like in my checkbox of everything I want in the dragon fight, like that takes care of everything. Like that gets distance between myself and the dragon. That takes out a critical power. That deals some damage to it. That just does everything. And so that's a very good combo against a lot of melee centric bosses. So yeah, you're dealing like 4 damage. Like for a 3 willpower 2 card combo, you're taking care of every major objective, and you're dealing 3 damage through armor, which will take out most powers and will definitely set you up to take out the rest with your cores. I like that. I like Iron Curse plus Wing Smash. That might actually be worth building around if I find a Sacred Tome where I think I will be able to craft one. I like that. I think this is definitely an interesting change. Definitely want to experiment with that. What item pairing seems wonky? Uh, uh, I, besides they're just bad. From another pairing, do you mean card or um card or like an item that needs a different card or a card that needs a different item? Come on. Both. Uh, I think. So the biggest one is wide sweep. We need. So the reason why AOE melee can't do well is that you can only ever get one wide sweep on that character. Wide sweep needs to be that or wide sweep. Like Claymore just needs 2 wide sweeps. Um, that's probably the biggest one. Like it's like barbaric blow and wide sweep just do different things, and you want like two of one of those cards. Um, yeah. I don't think it does because I think the damage goes through before the yeah, Fearsome Shout's garbage. Fearsome Shout's a terrible card. But yeah, I think the damage goes through before the knockback because you can get combo strikes off of Wing Smash. Yeah. So, yeah. Quick thinking needs to be off major flight potion, and then cooler thing needs to be on major. I like the idea of fly. I really like the idea of fly. The problem is that I can't reliably get like if major potion of flight had 2 flies, I'd probably keep it, or buy it, because fly can be a really interesting bait thing. The problem is that like you can only get one fly in a deck, and it's not reliable. Um, I think so. Yeah, major potion of flight could use another fly, or just something else that's interesting. Uh, I'd like to see cutting offense on something that's not Elven Dagger. I think cutting offense is a interesting card, but it's oh I'd like to see reach. I don't know why the other spears like I have no idea why Metal Spear has lunge and not reach on it. Like I think reach is a really cool idea that you might be able to build around, but it's just not available except in a very niche situation. Yeah. Um, I'd like to see another lightning card on Heavenly Conductor that's not channeling. I think channeling is just like a bad. Like I want a lightning storm. I want to blow everything up with a Heavenly Conductor. Like this is the lightning rod. Like it's like give me a lightning storm. Give me a forked lightning. Give me a Let me blow up the entire arena with evocation plus and a whole lightning heroic. Like, please. Uh, I think the skulls need to be reworked. I want skulls to be good, but they need to be reworked. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of like item reworks. I like to see sleep dart on more stuff. And arcing shot. Arcing shot's something that should be around more. I like arcing shot. Yeah. Demonic pack, yeah, demonic pack is garbage. Alright. Alright. Demonic pack is bad. Balance changes. Reduce HP on the spike back boss. How much is reduced? So here's the thing, right? So certain comps can actually beat the spike back boss. I actually had a run where I wasn't strong enough to fight the Lich, and I ran into a spike back boss 2 tiles before it, and I decided to fight. I actually just went up and killed it because if you have chain immobilized, you can beat up. Yeah, a cat ate one. Yeah, because I had a chain immobilize. Like I was building status elementalist, and you can chain immobilize the dude, and you either just sit behind cover, or what you do is you line up all your characters behind your warrior and just press right up against the guy, and then the wing smash can't knock you back. Um, you don't need cover if you have enough defense on your warrior to eat 4 damage a turn. Because if you if you chain immobilize and then stand right next to the dude, he can only wing smash strike you. That's the only thing he can do. Um, and if you line people up behind him, then he can't knock you back. So yeah, if you can block for a turn, you can beat it with perma immobilize. Um, so yeah, it so this yeah. So um where was I? Yeah. So I mean, I like the idea of HP on bosses getting reduced. If this drops it to like 30, I could see a strategy where you burst down the spike back. Um, if this is like 5 HP, it really doesn't matter. Whether or not you can kill it depends on whether or not you can cheese it. Um, but if I like the idea of I like the idea of taking a optional boss fight to try to get strong enough to high roll stuff out of desperation. Um, and in most situations, the spike back is kind of like an optional boss slash first boss in like combat runs and stuff. So I'm hoping this HP reduction is like brings it down to like 30 or high 20s in Cataclysm so that I can actually like fight this. Yeah, I can. I can. I'll post this as a separate video, and then yeah, yeah. I haven't been posting all of them to YouTube, but I'll definitely post this one. So um, yeah, yeah, I'd definitely be happy to. Yeah, it all depends how much, right? Cause like it's right. Like obviously you need a mobilize or something to fight the spike back. Um, if you can, if like you either need weaken plus frost so that you can like mitigate like the rapid fire, or you need immobile, like you need some status effect. The question is that is it enough to apply status effects for a couple turns and buy yourself a little time, or do you have to permanently stun it? And if this is a low enough HP that you can burst it down reasonably fast, um, then like if you only need like 2 immobilize in one weekend as opposed to like chain immobilizing every turn, then this fight becomes different. yeah, like so yeah, like if yeah, so it all it all depends on like what you can like was you can survive the first turn of setup against this guy, and then if you're really defensive and have like summons and some other tools, you can survive a second turn without taking someone dropping, and then the third turn you take hits, you are typically losing a character, then you're dead by the fourth. Um, so yeah, and if you have no defensive stuff, you die in 3 rounds. So like if you can beat this in 3 rounds, right? If the HP is enough so that you can beat it in 3 rounds with like some hindrance, like say you apply a frost in a weaken in a turn and immobilize it in a turn, right? Like you could actually like if it has a like there's a certain amount of HP where it actually becomes possible with having just a small number of tools and not perfect tools. So I'm hoping that's the HP. I'm gonna have to actually see how much HP the Spike Back has. It'd also be hilarious if we get to the point where we could kill the Spike Back den and kill 2 of them. I've never done it. I want to do it someday. I want to kill 2 Spike Backs someday on Cat 8. So I appreciate this. Also, this boss is just way too hard in custom in the custom quest. Actually, let's just go see how much HP it has right now. We can see it like instantly. Uh oh, I did not mean to quit the desktop. Yeah, we can see it within like seconds if I'm good at avoiding enemies and don't starve to death. Is it's always the first boss on a custom? All right, guys, we're feeding. Yeah, I've been tanking. I've inadvertently tanked the stats on this a lot because I've been like like I've run to the Spike Back. Come on, let's go. Come on, guys. There's a spiky boy to feed. Nope, not that dude. Spiky boy. Alright, here we go. I'll be very upset if they change this so it's not the Spike Back. Yeah, it's the Spike Back. 41? What type of HP number is that? Okay, nothing changed. Nothing changed, guys. Alright, let's die to a Spike Back. I got all my hopes up theory crafting on stuff and it's at like it lost like 2 HP. Alright. Let's see if my hypothesis that we die in 3 turns is true. It's looking like 2 turns right now. Well, okay, we lost the one guy in the first one, but we didn't really defend super well. We're also at level 1. Alright, 2 turns. Alright, never mind. This might bats. Yeah. It's like bats the same as it's always been. Unless unless like it's like a Gaussian distribution and we just like high rolled the HP there. that was enjoyable. All right. Got some stuff for the analytics. uh where's the announcements? There we are. Yeah, we've loaded the analytics on the Spike Back. So alright. So this wasn't a change. Remove Fireball from Fury Lich. that that's a this is a big change. So if I'm not mistaken, Fury Lich just has Shockwave now, right? For AoE stuff. It only has one thing to synergize with Evocation. So aside from like +1 damage to other things. So yeah. Big nerf to Fury Lich. Big nerf. Yeah, this is now a slow fight. Or you can take it slow. I mean, you're still taking a lot of damage, but like it's a lot less now. It's a lot less damage. Especially now you don't have to contend with burns cross turns. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you still don't want to be grouped for the shockwave, but oh yes, he does have a lightning bolt. Yeah, but that's typically only like that's typically only single target too. So it's pretty easy to avoid the lightning bolt. And you can beat that with Immobilize easily. So you are correct though, he does have the lightning bolt. So yeah, this is a big nerf. A really big nerf. You can definitely take the Lich fight slower now. Which I like. This in the God Hunter runs, this is a hard fight to prepare for. Yeah. And you can never take this fight really outside of specifically preparing it for God Hunter. So I think this is going to be nice for like this is going to let me prep for the planer a lot more now instead of prepping just for the Lich. This actually might mean that I stop running Witch in God Hunter because the knocking off powers, I mean, you still need to knock off powers, but like I can take a fight slower, I can build up stuff. I mean, Witch is still really good in God Hunter, but this definitely takes a lot of the pressure off of having to bring one because you have to beat the fight before you die to Fireball, or you have to like take every like it just takes a lot of pressure off. You can ramp damage a little more reasonably. I like it. Yeah. I yeah, I like it. I don't do combat runs, so I don't know what this is referring to. I'll let people who do stuff with combat run talk about combat run. But again, I like the strategic layer of the game, so I typically don't want to just do combat run. Some UI changes. So this doesn't matter mechanically. This matters a little bit. So you could artificially kind of do this already by moving perpendicular to quest locations and trying to estimate. Yeah. So this just makes it more precise. I like that this I like everything where they're giving more information in the map because it lets you actually make intelligent decisions with your food, and this will help a lot with that. I see. Yeah. So yeah, this was a nice little piece of information. It's not a terribly large amount of information. We could already kind of guess this. If you did a little trigonometry, but it's nice to be precise though. Yeah. I think they're just some nice UI stuff. And then oh, this this is actually a buff. This is actually a huge change. Uh, yeah, driving cold used to be yeah, yeah. So with a lot of the optional quests, you have to understand that it will often prioritize nearby stuff, and you can often like kind of like force it to certain locations. Um, yeah, yeah. That so yeah, yeah. This is definitely nice. This is definitely nice. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, this is a pretty. I mean, this is a big change to driving cold. It's gonna make it a much more consistent utility. It's basically gonna make it like gravity well or gravity vortex or whatever. Yeah, because before this had very limited utility. It was still a fine spell, but it like like this will get that knockback working right. So it's yeah, this is nice. This is definitely nice. I didn't even know this was a bug. I thought that's just how it worked, but it's that's nice. Um, let's hope this actually fixes it so that I can keep playing fast and not lose redraws. Um, this is also a nice change. I'm not gonna get two dragon scale shields and be sad. Um, so yeah, yeah. Overall, we got some buffs. We still we still want to see Cataclysm 9 and 10 actually made to be something realistic that people can do. That's actually fun. I still like to see uh, legendaries made, like the worthless legendaries made relevant. But yeah, yeah. Oh, that. Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, yeah. Iona Blade. Yeah, you don't want multiple Iona Blades. Iona Blade is so bad. Searching Strike is very weird. That like it costs double at a deck that you want a rapid cast thing in. It's yeah. I mean yeah, it's 100 gold exactly. But you know what? Like for 50% damage to the self, like I can pretend to be a bounty hunter and take the double bounty for 150 gold for a chase down event. Like, or I could spend 1 gold to randomly roll 100 and get a shop. Like, it's like I yes, it is 100 gold, and you know I will track it down and claim 100 gold because, but honestly, the other roll is like better. It's just Fenrir. It only got like a planar tome. That'd make much more sense if you're helping the Arcanist and you get like a planar tome or the skull hero or like a legendary skull. You should get a legendary skull from that. That'd be cool. Yes. A legendary skull that gives all of your opponents demonic pact at the start of the battle. uh, I mean, Planar Tome is a fine like Planar Tones. It's not a great legendary, but it's actually a usable one, right? Because like I use Planar Tome sometimes. Like I don't scoff at that one. I mean, yeah, it's not good, but it's not bad. It's better than the shield, and it's better than Juggernaut. It's better than mm, it's it's better than a lot of things. It's better than Iona's Blade. It's definitely better than Meteor Hammer. I probably would take it over Nebulous Star, depending on the situation. But I'd probably take it over Nebulous Star. It's like slightly below average, but just slightly. Yeah. Oh, it's more like a bat. Like the thing about Planar Tome is you get. Yeah, I need to get a proper list out of stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. If we can, so one thing we should do is either get it on the wiki or like get a list of all the legendaries. I've unlocked I think all but one of them if I recall correctly. Or all but two. Yeah, I've all but two. Um, yeah. I'm guessing this is in some event I haven't. I bet you if you beat the, I might go on hard mode and try to hunt down the. You have picks for all of them? Oh, that'd be sick. I'd love to do that sometime. I'd love to rank the legendaries and have that. Yeah. Yeah, please, thank you very much. That'd be great. Yeah, I should probably do like some roaming hard missions so that I can explore around and try to find the last two legendaries and like try to beat up the double. I know there's a double dragon event. I know there's a I haven't beaten the double spike back event. Um yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. I yeah, an item index would be nice, or to be able to hover over this and see the legendaries are nice. So not good. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like yeah, a legendary rework would be really cool because I think like I like even the good legendaries often aren't good enough to build around. Like stuff like Fallon's Arc, which is a very good legendary, but it's like I don't pick up Fallon's Arc and I'm like I'm going to deviate my plans for it. Um, I don't like the ritual pendant. I think is one that is powerful enough and has synergistic qualities, and the way it works is that you can actually like play around it as a unique item. Um, I think the Iona's Blade is getting closer to that, but it just doesn't have outside support. Um, the the two willpower one is the two willpower. I think it's Tome. I want to say it's a two willpower Tome. You can do some build around, but we don't really have the high cost spells to make that work. And now that heroics have come in, it's not good. Oh, glass armor? I've never. Oh, glass armor is Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what glass armor is. Um, I actually haven't used. I've never equipped glass armor. That's the one where you get double armor, right? And then or you get one more armor from every armor card, but you, no, no armor plus times 2 defense. Yeah, I think. I mean, that'd be interesting with the dragon shield, right? If you got that combo. I think that's a usable one. I definitely think that's usable. That's usable if I had so that's really usable with protector, right? Because that means you can, like, your, yeah. There's some definite combos you can do with it. You need the combos though. It's not good on its own, um, or how you usually use the warrior. But yeah, you either need two legendaries or you need it synergizes really good with a lot of the shield stuff. I can see it synergizing well with shield wall. I could. Does that one give you defensive stance? I forget if it gives you defensive stance. Yeah, it's good. It's great with shield bash. Yeah, that glass armor I think is a legendary I like. Um, yeah, I definitely like glass armor conceptually. I haven't had the run where I could use it, but I could definitely see like if I get that on a first elite instead of like that's the type of thing instead of building a Aegis tome I build a shield or I yeah. The speed armor is fun. You have to move every turn if I recall it with that one, but you end up drawing the speed armor is that. Oh, it was changed. I don't know what it is then. I don't know what it is since after the change. So, um, but the speed armor I look at patch was that 0.25? I forget if it was 0.25. Like that one wasn't actually the Ionis Blade Elven Stalker chain. Oh, added a fatigue card. I like it. I like it. The reason why I like this is because it's very good if you're putting it on like a character that just has like a melee character that has like melee range utility. Um, it just lets you instantly close, and one fatigue card is not terrible. It will sometimes screw you a little bit, but it's not great. I plus movement is like charge is not enough a justification for plus movement. Um, yeah, but this is really nice. Like this is really nice with bash. Is the cards that come to mind. Like this is really good with bash specifically. I like bash a lot. I it's not consistent enough for me to be like I'm always making this, but when I get the event that gives me a 66% chance for a mithril hammer, I take it. I think it's worth 2 food is definitely worth trying to get a bash. I think if bash worked off the edges of the map, it would be like I'd really like the card. Like bash is a well-designed card. It's one of the few melee cards I like and that I feel is actually like playable in the current state of the game. Or yeah, bash. Uh, oh, this card's great, and it shows up. Oh, I don't know if I can. Is it the bludgeon? Oh, crush. I mean, crush. My bad. Crush. I meant crush. Crush. Yeah, crush is a cool card. I get crush and bash mixed up. Yeah, crush is a good card. I like the dwarven hammer. It's almost a good card. It's a decent card. It's a usable card. Yeah. Yeah. If it works off the edges of the map, then I'd like this card a ton. I think you could consistently get it to do a lot of damage, but right now a little hit or miss. But I like Crush a lot. Um, yeah. Yeah, Stalker Chain I think is okay. Uh, Combo attacks aren't good enough for Iona's Blade to be super useful. But I do equip it. I typically throw this on a character for like for the first half of the second act. Um, Juggernaut feels bad. Nebula Star I think is weird. I don't know. I have to see them in front of me to rate them, but we could definitely make a tier list at some point. But yeah. All right. Definitely make a tier list. Yeah. I also want to do an item slot tier list at some point because like a lot of item slots are worse than others. Here, one moment. Let me get a party that actually sees all the item slots. Uh yeah. Yeah. Make the tier list two-dimensional, I feel like. I could try that. I'd have to play around with stuff and get some icons, but I could see doing that. Maybe I'll try doing that tomorrow. Just give the developers a ton of before I go to work. I kind of um I think are we talking in terms of legendaries or terms of item slots? I do think item slots have like an absolute power level. Like I think helmets are pretty weak. Like I think all the helmets are like any character with a helmet slot has like a wasted slot. I know I run warrior every run, but it's because warrior's base cards are really good. Um, warrior actually has pretty bad slots. Yeah, helmets are bad. Ranged weapons are fine, except the bows. The bows. Maybe I'll do it by weapon class, right? Because there's the bow class, there's the short bow class, there's the long bow class, there's the crossbow class. They tend to have similarities. Like the summons. Okay, the summons are actually like Burn Fetish is actually like the only good summon. Spirit Fetish is okay. I find Mad Soul's worse and worse the more I use it, and Insight is garbage. Yeah, when it says active, major tip for everyone: when it says activate them twice, it doesn't mean activate all of them twice. Yeah. I don't know. Dire Bat's in competition. 1 willpower for 4 HP. It's the same HP ratio. Dire Bat's and a Glass Lizard is also a really good tank. So yeah. Insight. So if you have 2 summons, you don't get 4 activations. You only get 2 split. No, no, that's not what I was getting. I get. Maybe mine was bugged then? I don't know. Insight was working weird for me. Like, I wouldn't get, like, 2 extra Mad Souls and 2 extra Husk attacks, so. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 1 more HP on Dire Bat is a big deal. It's a really big deal. Yeah, it is more than 4 damage, so most of the time. Yeah, the skulls are bad. The totems are just bad in general, except for the burn fetish. Which is a little sad. The totems are good. The high tier totems are good. The tomes in general are good, but that's just because there's so many of. Like, there's some really bad tomes, but there's also some really good tomes. So I like the tome slot. Light armor is meh. It's whatever. You prefer heavy armor. There's just a really weird hodgepodge of stuff on the light armor that's not really usable. The staffs are good. And by staffs, I mean flame staff. And yeah. There's no blue frost staff, I've realized, which is a little weird. There's no, yeah, it's very significant. It's very significant. The heavy weapon slot's bad in most situations. The blunt weapon slot is, in most situations, bad. It's gotten a little better. Blades are great. Potions are good, slash, except for acid, which is great. Yeah. Wait, Flame Staff has 4 life? Did we glitch it? No. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to go into an in-depth discussion of items at some point, because it's probably the most impactful thing there is. Um, yeah. The chains are so weird. I wish they pulled you in all the way. That'd be cool. That'd make hybrids terrifying, but it'd make using these cool. Flame Staff is just so good on Elementalist with Evocation. It's just like, you just beat up the Necromancer for free. Or for 1 bone, 1 wood, and 1 metal. It's just like, I think Force Field needs to be buffed. I'd love for Force Field to get buffed. I think Force Field should be 1 willpower. I think supporting in this game is like seriously, like, I don't know why there's not more supporting stuff in this game. But yeah, Force Field definitely deserves to be 1 willpower. Because like is it Bolster is 1 willpower gain 6? Yeah. By supporting, I mean stuff that lets you aid other characters. So right now we have Force Field. We have we have, so yeah, stuff that lets you affect other one character to affect others. So right now we have Force Field. We have Channeling. Those are the two. Okay, so directly effect is like, yeah, coordinate. Yeah. Coordinate's the number one. Force Field's a big one. Um. Uh. Those are the 2 direct ones. There's a lot of indirect stuff. Uh, is that it? Is that actually it? Oh, Last Stand. Yeah, Last Stand. Yeah. So those are the three major ones. Um, oh yeah, Sanctuary. Yeah, Sanctuary. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think that's it. I want to say that's it. So those are the four. And then there's some like ones that you can kind of figure out supporting, like Gravity Vortex. Um, Wing Smash might be, but I'm not considering it now. Uh, Driving Cold. So we're at six. Protector. Yep, Protector works. So that's seven. Yeah, Protector's a big one. Um, Protect's not an item card. I'm not counting item cards because then we'd have to include Inspire and all of the Warlord stuff. But Warlord doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Um, Channeling and Rally. So there's nine cards right now that I'm aware of that aids other characters. The immobilizes kind of do, like, yeah, there's displacement. Yeah, if you include some of the mobilizes, they kind of do, but like there's, compared to like all the individual stuff, there's not many supporty things outside of classes, right? And the warrior has a lot of supporty stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is that like it's not just that there's like that there's not many support cards, is that there's not like a support um archetype, right? Like the only really support archetype power is Protector, right? I think this is like the only support power. Aura of Pain is technically one too, but Aura of Pain is garbage. Um, and I have the play testing to prove to verify that it's garbage. Like the number of times I've actually gotten an Aura of Pain to do anything is so rare. Um, but yeah, like Force Field is not a Buffy card. um, like Coordinate is not something you can make an archetype around. Like a lot of the support cards are like on epics, so like Sanctuary and Last Stand are like your oh darn buttons I need to really save the situation, but they're on purples and you can't always get those purples, so does Aura of Pain even work with Soul Blast? I don't think Aura of Pain works with Soul Blast, right? Because you strip your powers and then you use Soul Blast, right? If I understand it correctly. I want to say Soul Blast doesn't work with Aura of Pain. You definitely don't stack it, right? I'm pretty sure you don't stack it. Like if Aura of Pain and Soul Blast worked, he did. How does it work? Oh, does it ramp damage too? Does like the power actually like ramp the damage as well, or does it just stay with the number of debuffs it had before? Because if it ramps the damage, then that just like one shots everything. That one shots the boss. No, I'm not saying you have to expose, right? But like does it do the thing where like every time you deal damage to a target, it applies a debuff, like each time, right? Like does my first one deal 1, then my second one deal 2, then my third one deal 3, then my fourth one deal 4, or is it like they have 3 debuffs and each one does 3 extra? Because that's a big difference. I assume if it works, it doesn't ramp it. Um, because if it did, that'd just be very stupid. I mean, Soul Blast is already. I wish Soul Blast was. Why you have to waste a power on Soul Blast is like. Okay, or it's however many. Yeah, it's however many debuffs you have on the target. Yeah, that makes more sense. But that is still like. I'd rather. I'd rather. I'd rather just get a different power or get a different get another ranged attack on the witch than have, or another way to apply debuffs than have random soul blast do like there's memes and then there's like unhealthy memes, and soul blast just seems like, I mean, I guess it's a fine meme, but it's like, I know, I'd rather my memes be on planar tomes than be on like uh, than on a character that I feel like I have to play a lot. That yeah, that I'm rolling that 1/4 of the time on every level up. It's just not. It also has anti-synergy with the identity of powers, because it's like you want your powers to stick on, but then you're stripping, like, you want your powers to do stuff, but you're intentionally like taking something where you're ending the ability for your powers to do stuff, and it's like, why this seems game losing. Yeah, but it's a bad finisher. It's 15 damage. Like 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 you need, if you're spending your entire, like, how do I word this? Like, if I'm facing a boss, right? Like, on average, I need to be doing like 20 damage a turn when I'm fully ramped. So like, if you think about the dragon, okay? Like, the dragon's getting like 7 armor a turn, has like 80 something health. If I'm doing like 20 damage and doing like 13 a turn, that's gonna kill it in like 6 turns or so, which is about how much you can face the dragon if you're like rooting it and doing stuff, right? So like, understand that an entire turn's worth of effort has to equate to about 20 damage, right? Like, you should be able to, in the late game, kill something, like you have to be able to kill an elite with an entire turn worth of effort, right? This is why I'm saying stuff about like uh what is it, the like Heartseeker and stuff like Critical Strike and stuff where it requires lots of setup, is that like if you're spending all 9 cards doing something, you have to deal like 20 something damage. Like, you have to kill an elite because you're facing fights where there's multiple elites and you have to take them out quickly, or you're facing fights where like the boss has like 10 armor and critical powers you have to take off, and like 20, like an entire turn's worth of stuff by your team has to be like 20 damage. If you're spending 5 powers worth of willpower to deal 15, that is just so pathetically sad that it's like, that doesn't finish anything. That doesn't beat a late game encounter. That doesn't beat a late game boss. That doesn't beat late game elites. That doesn't beat anything. That just kills you. That's just loses. That's putting a yeah. Just like you need massive impact, right? Right, yeah, yeah, like, yeah. It's just yeah. Like this is why crush is fine, right? Because crush you spend like half your turn getting a crush off, right? Cost 3 cards, you tend 1 to 2 cards moving, you get it off, and a lot of times it's gonna do like 11 damage, which against the boss is good. Right? This is why crush is good, right? It's a little unreliable, but it's like when you use crush, it's good. Typically 11 damage is reasonable. Um, but like there's so few cards that like are built like crush to actually have impact like crush. Like in for the late there's so few cards for late game that are like built like crush and built like this is why Immolate's good, right? Like Immolate is good because it's 4 willpower, which is a little less than half your turn. Deal 6 and then 3 and then 3. It's like 4 willpower, deal 9, which is like that's right on the money, right? Yeah. Like like but you have to go through such efforts. You have to have 3 different powers to steal. You have to like have the cards to steal them. You also have to keep the powers. Like you have to put effort into keeping those powers, right? And right? And like and you also have to understand if you're putting Soul Blast in your deck and you're putting a bunch of powers in your deck and you're putting power steal cards in your deck, what and you're planning on stripping the powers, it's not like you're getting a lot of benefit from the powers on your character, right? Like you have all these cards in your deck that don't synergize with your powers. Yeah, it's yeah, it's yeah, like against bosses, 20 damage a turn when you're up and running. That's what needs to happen. And the truth is what that typically articulates is like you're doing like 10 damage with stuff like Emulate and Crush and stuff, and you're spending like your little bit of extra to slowly ramp up so your other things consistent, like your normal stuff consistently does 20. Um, and you just need to do 20 damage in a turn against fight. Like 20 is just the number. Like that's the late game number. Is that like you have to be able to one shot elites. You have to be able to kill 3. You have to be able to kill clumps of enemies, and you have to be able to burn through bosses. Like that's just what you have to do in late game. And so yeah, anything that's like a late game card or requires setup or builds or builder rounds have to do 20 damage or 15 through armor. 15 through armor is like the same. Um, and that's what I said. Heart Piercer kind of had to do. That's what I'm gonna say. Most of these cards have to do. If like that's kind of the it's and if you think about it, that's not actually that unreasonable, right? That's saying that like you start the game being able to convert like a 2/3 ratio, like two like for every 3 cards you spend you can deal 2 damage, and by the end of the game you have to have a 2-to-1 so that like every 1 card you spend has to deal 2 damage. Um, or a little less. Yeah, it's so yeah, you have to triple your power from the start of the game to the end of the game. And that's I mean That seems about right. Like that's like I think the expectation that you triple your power from the beginning of the game to the end of the game is like pretty reasonable. And that's kind of the scaling expectation you have stuff with like you guys are talking about like throwing stars and like like rapid fire like with rapid fire plus like with two powers, right? Like that essentially like if each power essentially doubles the effectiveness of your cards, you can kind of think of it like that. Like Deadeye doubles the effectiveness of like your power shots. And so if like you have like Deadeye and then you like get a cheaper attack, right? Like you're at that doubling threshold, right? Deadeye plus a 1 mana deal 2 is going to deal 4 for 2 cards, right? Uh, Slightly less because you have to reposition constantly, but like it's right like 1 willpower deal 5 on a ranged attack is like totally normal. It's totally normal in this game to 1 damage deal 5 on a ranged attack. That's Deadeye plus a phosphorus arrow. We even do better than that with like lodestone arrows, right? Or piercing arrows. Like that's yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, that makes exact sense, right? Like you have plus twos with better attacks deal, yeah, 20 damage a turn. So yeah, the devs need to be thinking like that because things that just aren't good enough. They're just not good enough. Yeah. I don't know. It took them 2 days to to fix resourceful. I 3 turned a planer and then it took 2 days. So yeah, that's true. But that was funny. I I wanted to milk it a little bit more. Maybe I should have said it 3 turned. I mean, 3 turned the dragon too, and the worm, and I think it might have 3 turned the lich. It was like, it's not that this was a fluke. All right. Uh, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I did recommend to them. Maybe they didn't watch the VOD I said that it wasn't edited. I probably should edit some of this stuff, but I did say multi-shot could probably be 4 willpower, which I do think is true. I think multi-shot is very strong. Like, then again, it's a heroic, so it should be strong. I'd rather heroics be stronger than average than weaker, because you have to put a lot of effort to get a heroic on your team. You have to get a purple item to get a heroic, and like, there's something to be said that like the like I'm all good with like rarity not meaning everything, but like yeah, purple items are hard to come by, and you have to spend a lot of effort to build up to these bad boys. So I do think heroics should definitely be strong. Like heroics should be very strong. So yeah, yeah, I like the idea of heroics, but I think they need to do stuff. Yeah, like impenetrable wall is a good card, but it doesn't do stuff, which is like, ah. It's like I'm never gonna build a fortress shield if I think I need block, right? Like, and that's just kind of sad, right? Like, Yeah. So, anyhow. Well, I think we've been at this for a long time. I actually had stuff to do at 5, so I'm sorry to get to run any today. We just had a great discussion, so I'll take it. I'm definitely gonna post this SWAT. I might actually even try to edit this so that like it's actually watchable if for the devs, so that they don't have to spend 3 hours. But yeah, thanks for stopping in. I might play a little bit later tonight, just because I want to try out this patch. But I do have to do dinner and talk with some people and get some stuff arranged. So yeah, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. Before I start work, I want to try to make some major like overall feedback. So I'd probably that shield. That's called the everything shield. That's what we call the everything shield. You know what I would like to see is I'd like to see like I don't know. I don't feel like Shield Bash and Protector should be like on the same thing. I feel like Shield Bash and Shield Wall should be on the same thing. And I feel like Shield Bash should go on Fortress Shield, and I feel like Impenetrable Wall should go on Mithril Shield. I think that would be better. Because then I might actually build a Mithril Shield over a Tower Shield sometimes. Right? And I like if I wanted to go Shield Bash stuff, right? I might actually build a Fortress Shield over a Metal Shield. I think that'd be a really cool change. I think that'd be a really cool change. It makes sense, right? You want to build up all this armor so you can get this big bastion, and then like this you want like Protector, you want to like defend your allies very quickly, and then you can have this really massive armor turn that just defends everyone, and your armor goes a long way. And they also like fit the identity of the that the shields have, right? If you're going for like carry bash warrior, like you have something that's very good at personally defending the warrior and getting that armor up. And if you're going like support warrior, you have a shield that's really good at that. And like like the tier that you're interacting with just works. Like it just has harmony. And then spiked shield, I'm never gonna build. Iron taunts, not fun. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to change. There's a lot of stuff. But I think that's enough talking about. It's enough talking about the patch, and that's enough spitballing for today. If I'm gonna, if we're gonna make some serious recommendations to devs, we should actually do it in a systematic manner so that we can like dissect what really needs to happen, because spitballing's fun, but yeah. No, 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 no. This is great. This is great. I mean, we're still sending this to the devs, but after maybe some editing. But yeah, I yeah, it's good to think things through. Good to talk with the people in the community. So yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go get some dinner, and then I'll think about this a little more. So this is great. All right. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Oh, we have 3 people watching. Yes. basically 3 hours. All right, signing off.